One of the things we like to do here at Sierra Adventure Vehicles is highlight a special build when they come through the shop. This customer has trusted us with a number of their vehicles in the past, so we were super excited when they started talking to us about their next build. The truck we're going to take a look at today is a 2024 F-350 Limited Diesel. We're going to go through it from tip to tail to show you what this build includes. Let's start up front. This customer opted for Addictive Desert Designs, ADD, for their front bumper. This is the Bomber model, shown in hammered black, which is compatible with adaptive cruise control. In the center of the bumper here, we have 3 LP6s, named for their 6 LEDs you see in the housing. This light comes from Baja Designs and is available in clear or amber, either in full spot or driving combo. In addition to the LP6s, we've got Squadrons here in the bumper that take the place of the factory fog lights. The Squadrons are available in Pro, Sport, or SAE, depending on your needs. And they also come in different lenses. You can get them in amber, or you can get them in clear. This customer's optioned for the combo, which has wide cornering on the bottom and driving on the top. On the A pillar, we have what most folks call a ditch light. So same thing, Squadron Pro, and those are set up in full wide cornering. Okay, let's talk about the heart of this build, which is the suspension upgrade. This truck has a 3.5-inch lift kit from Carli. So of course it's got a 3.5-inch taller coil up front. There's a 2.5-inch shock here that comes with the system. Then there are some optional upgrades that you can consider when you're doing a lift kit like this. Starting in the front, the first one is Carli's torsion sway bar. This progressive sway bar takes some of that effective spring rate out of the equation that you might experience with a factory sway bar. This kit also has both the high and the low steering stabilizers. The lower steering stabilizer also includes the front diff cover. Another optional upgrade are the radius arms. So when you do a lift kit like this, there's some suspension geometry correction that should occur. These radius arms allow you to do that correction without the use of shims. They also provide for more tire clearance. If you were to use a factory radius arm on a tire of this size, 1350 width, 38-inch diameter, you're going to rub your factory radius arms, especially if you're on factory wheels. The Carli radius arms are also much stronger than those stamped steel factory radius arms. This suspension features Carli's E-Venture system, which is a badass upgrade for anybody looking to really take their truck to the next level. The way the E-Venture system works is it starts with the shocks. So these are 2.5-inch aluminum body shocks, stainless steel rod, and billet end. But what makes them unique is their electronically adjustable valve between the reservoir and the main body. Now there are a number of adjustable shocks on the market, so that's not new. But what's unique here is how those valves are controlled. So the E-Venture system starts with the ECU, the electronic control module. That control module takes inputs and adjusts those shock valves 250 times per second. The ECU gets its input from 2 places. The first is the IMU, which is inertia monitoring unit. In this case, it's mounted under the hood, and the IMU measures 2 things, pitch and roll. So it knows if your truck's tipping forward in a dive or it's rolling to one side. And when the IMU detects that change in geometry of the truck, it sends information back to the ECU, which can close valves and correct that suspension issue your truck's experiencing. To take it to another level, the E-Venture also receives information from the OBD, so the onboard diagnostic system of the truck. The OBD reports back throttle position, brake position, and steering wheel position. So it can actually tell the truck what it's about to experience before it happens. So if you stomp on the brakes while you're off-roading in this truck, before the truck even pitches forward, the system already knows that that's about to happen and can close those front valves before your truck takes a nosedive. If you crank the wheel to the right, again, the truck reports back to the system that the steering position is extreme, and it can close those left side valves of the truck before it starts to roll. Another component of the E-Venture system is the display on the A-pillar of the truck. This allows the driver to interact with the system. So the E-Venture comes with 4 modes: Rock, Street, Desert, and Pro. Rock is the softest of the modes. So that's a preset that you can opt for that starts soft. Maybe low speed off-road. Street would be everyday driving. Desert would be high speed off-road. And then Pro allows the customer to go in and choose all of their own settings for how the system reacts to inputs. All of those settings can be reset back to factory if you feel like you get off track at some point. In addition to the 4 modes, there's also a haul mode where you can control the rear shocks independent from the front. Let's talk about the rear suspension next. We'll start with the leaf springs. Carli specs a Deaver leaf spring, which is a full progressive leaf pack. Unlike your factory spring, this leaf spring allows for 13 inches of travel and provides a nice, soft on-road experience. It's also great for off-road, and it eliminates that dump truck feeling you get from a factory spring, which is you experience 90% of the time when you're not fully loaded. In order to make up for some of that capacity for having a softer spring, we've opted for the PMF long travel airbags. Now, pressure in the airbags can be controlled from inside the cab and can be adjusted based on what's in your bed or what you're towing. The last component of the rear suspension would be the same style E-Venture shocks that we talked about in the front. Moving to the rear of the truck, we've also got an upgraded bumper from ADD. Again, it's the Bomber model in hammered black. This bumper is provisioned with a spot for additional backup lights. We've opted for the Squadrons Sports in diffused cornering to give you that nice, bright backup lighting. One of the challenges with running a big tire on your truck is where do you put the spare? This truck is equipped with 38-inch tires, which means the factory's spare location won't work. Carli has solved this challenge by introducing what they call the trophy hitch. This is a 3-inch receiver hitch, which is rated up to 16,000 pounds. The unique aspect of the hitch is it can accommodate this large 38-inch tire. It maintains the factory cable system for raising and lowering the wheel, putting your spare back where it belongs. But Carli's also added an additional strap here to really hold that heavy spare in place while you're driving. The last upgrade we'll cover at the rear of the truck is the onboard air system. With the airbags we already talked about with the suspension, you need an onboard air system to provide pressure. Since we've already got onboard air required for our suspension system, we've added fittings both front and rear of the truck. What this allows you to do is air back up after off-roading for yourself or for anyone else on your trip. Let's talk wheels and tires, everybody's favorite topic. We like the Method Bead Grip series. They provide us more confidence when we're airing down off-road. This particular method is the 701 HD. HD stands for heavy duty, and this wheel is rated for 4,500 pounds. This customer has opted for an 18 by 9, so 18-inch diameter wheel, 9-inch width. The wheels are wrapped in Toyos. We have a joke here at the shop, you can have any tire you want as long as it's a Toyo. All kidding aside, we find Toyos easy to balance, relatively quiet for as aggressive as they are, and to provide great traction both off and on road. This Toyo is a 38 by 1350 Toyo Open Country MT. Another thing we want to cover about this build is the full bed ADD Mole panel system. Our customers also opted for the bed stiffeners. That wraps up this build. We think this customer has selected a ton of great upgrades that makes his truck very capable on and off road, a real do-it-all truck. If you have any questions about this build or would like to talk to us about yours, reach out to us at info@sierraadventurevehicles.com.